Hey guys, welcome to another portfolio update. So today is Saturday, June 21st, and our portfolio is at $313,000. Just to give a bit of a recap, at the beginning of Friday, so just yesterday, we were actually up $318,000, but there was a massive dip on Friday, a big sell off. So we're down to 313,000. These things are normal. Um, when I used to do options, Friday was known as sell-off day. So if I was in any, puts and I'm making a decision on Thursday before the market close, whether I want to stay in them or not, I remember that Friday, just, by analyzing the charts and looking at them, day by day as an options trader, Friday, there's a large number of them where you see a big sell off. So the Friday is not a really big surprise to us. So here we are at $313,000, and I think we're in a very interesting position. So before I go into that, let's just go look through the whole entire portfolio. Firstly, our overall portfolio is up 9.43%. All right. I also do have a Blossom. And what Blossom does is that basically verifies people's portfolios. So I'm, more than willing to share mine. So ever since I joined Blossom on September 2024, about 9 months ago, we're up 9.5%. Remember, the market index goes up, average 10% per year. So us, being at 9 months and have already having a gain of 9.5%, we are expecting, or I am expecting to make a return of more than 10% this year. So, I'm going to lock in for the last 3 months just to see how much more than 10% I can make. So back to the portfolio. Yeah, 9% up. We made about $27,000 all time. And let's go into different accounts. First one is TFSA. If you look at the overall, we made $18,000, which is 17.63%. My TFSA has been working since April 3rd. So it's been about a year and 2 months. And that's where the 17% came from. But if we just want to track the last 12 months, we're up 13.5%. So you can see just with my TFSA, I'm beating the market every year. So those of you who aren't very familiar with my TFSA, I've talked about it in my previous videos. This is the account that I use solely for monthly dividend passive income because I do a lot of growth and I do a lot of swing trades. One day I meet Armageddon, um, and I decide to stop that because I'm taking huge losses. The worst case scenario, I know I at least have my TFSA as a safe haven because this is consistently making me profits. So looking at what I have, I actually distributed all my cash in. So I'll go through the holdings first, and I'll give you a bit of you know, rundown about where I'm at with this. All right. So I still have my Amazon AMZH. I was actually looking to sell this week. It did present an opportunity for me to sell because I'm at an average of $12.96. So basically, if I can sell each of my stocks at $12.96, I'll break even. And this week there was like maybe like a few minute opportunity where that happened on June 18th at 7:30 a.m. in Vancouver time. Literally, you can see like within half an hour, that selling opportunity was gone. So I just missed it. I did put a sell order in. Let me see if I can find it. Wednesday 18th. Yeah, I did put a sell order in. You can see I was trying to put a sell order. I just didn't get filled. I was putting in 12.96. Exactly how much cost per share is. So that's fine. I am bullish on Amazon, so it wasn't a big deal. But I was looking to get out at that point because I've already made about 7 months of dividends and redistributed. The stock that I was going to redistribute it into if I sold Amazon is HHIS. So that's basically where I pour all of my funds into. So I have $10,000 roughly in this one with an average price of $11.48. Um, and I mean, sure enough, just I mean, this is luck. This is not me really timing it. Although I did look at a good entry. We are up 3.63% since buying it. Ethereum, again, it's down. It's whatever. We're down 25%, but remember we are collecting dividends. So over time, about usually about a year, we'll break even for sure. I'm still bullish on Ethereum. It's just gonna take some time. It's not, Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been having a good run this year, not Ethereum. It's one of the few times I've seen in the history of crypto that Bitcoin and Ethereum has diverged, but as long as we don't sell it right now, 25% loss is not real. And I'm very confident that I can turn this trade, into a big loss. Maybe sell it at 10, 15% in the green, but we'll see. All right, next one, HPYT. Again, this is a big portion. I have $66,000 in this, and it's down 15%. So I did a calculation. As you can see on my Simple, if I were to sell it today, I would lose, $10,500. If you look at the total, where the total return is, that negative $10,497.02, roughly $10,000 is what I'll lose if I sell it right now. I've also done a calculation or add up of all the dividends I've collected from HPYT since I bought it. I bought it back last October, and after calculating all the dividends I've earned, I earn about 7,000. So if I were to sell it today, I wouldn't actually be at a loss of 10,000. I'd be at a loss of 3,000 ish, because 10,000 minus 7,000 is about 3,000. So actually, I'm pretty close. HPYT does give me $900 of dividend every month. So I think maybe in the next 6 to 12 months, if I wanted to, that I could sell out of HPYT. Again, I do feel like, the thing about HPYT, which follows 20-year Treasury US Treasury bonds, is that they're gonna spike in the middle of nowhere, right? So I mean, I can always wait for then. So I'm currently more leaning towards waiting for a point where it spikes, but if I get impatient, I may just take it out at break even. All right. Next two, briefly, don't have to spend too much time at QQCL. That's basically the QQQ. We're only down about 3% on this, $500 roughly. USCL, which follows the S&P 500, we're down about $200. Um, but I definitely bought some more shares of USCL and QQCL in the last month. I didn't put it all in HHIS. So this one, it's kind of like I'm just in autopilot. This is something that I'm planning to hold for years. So I'm just not going to touch those. Not much to really discuss. And RS, again, if it's not HPYT, RS is the biggest one. This is, I think, looking at this, all of you guys watching this, RS is like my way of telling you why you should not invest in the Canadian stock market or the Canadian economy. RS is a Canadian real estate split fund, and I was buying it at a dip, about half a year ago. See, like from its peaks over here. Well, it's not really a peak. If you look at the 5 year, it's been dropping every single month since 2021, when I first knew about this one. And so dropping from 17, you know 13 even looks like a peak, but in the last year, 13 was the peak for RS. And I got it down, in the 12, 16s, and it just keeps dropping. So this is a falling knife, and there is no end. This has been falling for years. It's not like an AMD, which has been falling for a year. This has been falling for years. This is a good testament to you why you don't. My advice right now is don't invest in the Canadian economy. So after seeing all this, how much dividends am I earning from this account? So I'm just gonna pull up my dividend income. I am earning $1,953.77 per month on the portfolio you just see, and that's passive income coming in. And ever since 2021, 2022, aside from 2 or 3 months, I've never taken any money out. But I'm planning to take out maybe some dividends this summer in the month of July and August. So, the June dividends just got paid out, but I didn't take those out. I reinvested them. But next month in July and August, I am planning to take some money out just to support some of my living expenses. Um, but when we're in September, I'll be looking to just reinvest everything again. So our monthly dividend income that we're earning is steadily increasing. If you saw my video from a month or two ago, back in May, it was 1840, 1860. Now it's at 1953. So you're gonna see this steadily climb even more as we go in the future. All right, now changing gears, let's switch back into my Wealthsimple account and see what's going on everywhere else. Not much to report in the RSP. RSP, I have a good $18,000 on the side for a potential buy, and actually just about 2 3 hours ago, in case of those of you who are also following the news, the U.S. has now declared war on Iran. I'll just pull out Google News. Trump, Iran. At the making this video, yeah, the U.S. has already bombed three Iranian nuclear sites, and next Monday, if things don't change, we're looking at a war. And what usually happens with a war is going to be a pullback. So if there is the pullback that I'm expecting, I am looking to buy things up with this $18,000 on the side. My biggest one is Palantir, but I haven't really made a plan about exactly what price yet. Um, so, if you follow my Discord, I usually alert my group there when I'm trying to make a purchase. But yeah, right now all I can say is I'm looking at Palantir, but I will be using the charts and using a lot of time to do my due diligence probably next week. If the war causes a dip in the markets, I will be snatching up a lot of shares of Palantir. Okay, let's keep going. So, anything else to report in the RSP? Let's have a look. So, since I've, brought the RSP into my portfolio, we're up $3,862, 3.8%. This is since, February, basically. So, February till now, about 4 months, we're up 3 to 4%. And if you guys remember, when I inherited this account, a lot of things were down. So I've been able to kind of get rid of the bad trades or the bad positions out, and now I'm slowly, doing some restoration on this portfolio. Um, all I have left from what was here when I first inherited it is Tesla at $378, which is really high, not the number that I like. Everything else is gone. Oh, and Google. So Google as well. Google at 190, also quite high. So the two that I have yet to kind of get rid of or purge out. But I like Tesla. It's bullish, so I'm not going to play that too much. Google, when I do break even roughly, I'll probably get out of that. And those of you who have been following my videos recently, Intel is a play that I just got into recently. I bought in at 1975, and I am selling a $20 cover call on that one. Archer is also a recent one that I bought. I got in at 990. If you watch my previous videos, I had Archer when I first inherited this RSP. And this 990 is actually cheaper than the price it was at originally. So that's the beauty of cover calls. Yeah, those ones are new. All right, moving on to the non-registered account. So this account, remember guys, this is the account where I have all my Canadian dollar positions. So I have Ethereum, Tesla, VFV, which is basically S&P 500 by Vanguard, and I have a new position. It's Visa, and I have XSU. Okay, so I'll go through the old ones first. XSU is basically the Russell 2000 or IWM small cap market, and this has been down since I bought it. I have an average of $44.83. Several opportunities presented itself to sell. I didn't sell. So here we are still holding it. This is something I'm just going to wait for me to break even on and then get out then. Ethereum, same thing. Bought this at a relatively high price, and I dollar cost average a couple times. My average is 1163. We did get pretty close in the last month for a potential sell off, so we did hit like 1091, which is kind of close to my 1163, but I didn't sell there. Looking for it to peak higher. When it time is right, I'll sell that. Tesla, everyone is familiar with my position here. It's my big position. It's kind of like my prized position. I have, 29,000 dollars in this one, 1,017 shares of Tesla. And Tesla, to be honest, the last month, as we get close to the robotaxi unveil in Austin, Texas on June 22nd, it's just been kind of yo-yoing up and down, up and down. You can see, got to a high of 32.48 on May 27th, and it got to a low of 25.55 on June 5th, and now it's kind of like in the middle. Right? So what does all translate to for those of you who have Tesla, but maybe in the American stock? Um, what I'm talking about is I got to the highs of 363 before dropping to the lows of 280, 278. Now it's kind of trading sideways at 322. I think, it's not going up, it's not going down. It's kind of there's no way, there's no kind of indicator for, what's going to happen after Robotaxi. But my position is it's bullish. And I've spoken many times about why I'm bullish on Tesla, and I'm just gonna, quickly say it again. Okay, Tesla, if you look at it as a car or EV company only, then yes, it's overpriced. It's probably worth much less than what it's trading at right now, maybe in the low 200s, high, hundreds. But if you view Tesla as a company that was an EV company, car company for the last 10 years, but in the next 5 years, next 10 years, it's a company that's going into, it's an AI company essentially. It's going into FSD, self-driving technology, energy storing technology, um, the robots that they're building, then yes, I would say, it justifies at the price that it has right now. And I would argue that if the robotaxi event goes well shortly later this year, we can see this double or triple, right? So, I'm not buying this thinking that there's no risk. If you are risk averse, definitely, my suggestion is not to get into Tesla like I am in. But what I see, is always the numbers, just like when I did options. What if, Tesla hits, a perfect scenario, what can it earn? I would say, Kathy Wood is probably not too far off. If in a perfect scenario, if the next three businesses that's doing, the three that I just mentioned, they all hit and they become perfect. Yeah, I would say Kathy Wood, at her crazy $2,300 per stock is, not, it's still a bit high for what I think, but still like not out of the ballpark. I would say, at least $1,500, $1,800, per share at one point. Of course, again, with the overhype, not saying that it's worth that based on the fundamentals. Versus if it doesn't do well, then where does it go back down to? Well, in the 200s. So I feel like, I have, the opportunity to triple, quadruple my money on Tesla, or at least double if I want to play it safe. If Tesla turns out well, right? Or if I lose, I'm down, maybe a third, 25%. I can live with that. So I think I like my odds. I've already looked at the pros and cons, and I'm here to earn money, and you cannot do that without taking some risk. So I'm good with my Tesla position. Last two I'll talk about, and this one you guys might also be familiar with. VFV is just the S&P. I have about $3,000 in this, and we are up 1%. Higher earlier this week, as you can see here, when the VFV was at 146.5 roughly, but it has pulled back quite a bit, and I don't really get this. This is another autopilot stock. Lastly, I am back into Visa. Okay, so Visa, if you guys know, I have held this for a relatively medium term in the past and been successful on it. Just to quickly show you my Visa. Um, I put it in my swing trade journal, but I wasn't. It was actually more of like a long position that I just wanted to get out of earlier because I think that maybe there was going to be some volatility in near future, and I just want to maybe buy back in. So I was in Visa about back in November 13th at $297, and I sold. Oh, actually, I don't know if this is correct. It says February. I feel like I sold that. Yeah, this looks more correct. This March date. Okay, so um, I may have to change that. That's a bit of a typo. But yeah, I did sell out of Visa, 5 months later, around March, and we did almost 20% on that one, making $651. And then I think what this is, this V over here, was just another, swing trade that I did real quickly, March 5th. Yeah, just for 3 weeks. I made, a quick 2%. Wasn't that great, but it was still something. Any gains is good. But now I'm back in Visa because Visa is down. It was at a high of about 373 at its peak. So based on the 52-week average high, it's 375. Now it's pulled back to 330s, which is a significant pullback. So I bought back into Visa at these levels. I've been bullish on Visa, but Visa is down because of the recent introduction of stable coins like Circle and stuff. And there are some investors who fear that with these new, crypto coins, stable coins, that Visa becomes something that is disposable. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's not necessarily like a binary situation. Like if stablecoin does well, bye bye Visa. If stablecoin fails, Visa is here to stay. I think it's something in between. I think when stablecoin if stablecoin becomes successful, that the business can also pour into Visa in other ways as well. So I do like Visa. It is my newest position, and that's my non-registered Canadian account. So lastly, I'm going to show you my non-registered margin account. This is where I put all my US funds. The biggest move I have to show you today, this that I did this week, was I officially got out of AMD. All right. So a bit of backstory of AMD. Okay. So first of all, if you've been watching my videos for the last 2 3 months, you know that I had AMD in my RSP, and I made not once or twice, but like 2 3 times of cover calls on that, and we profit greatly on that before we sold out of AMD. So you're probably wondering, hey, if you had AMD before and you sold out of it, how do you still have AMD? If you watch my videos from all the way back, I actually bought AMD back in December, and somewhere around February, I think before the tariffs started, just destroying the stock market. Um, I switched out of AMD, not for a different stock, but for AMDL, which is a 2x um, stock. Basically, it moves with AMD in the same direction, but it moves twice as much, making it much riskier, but the payoff being bigger. And ever since then, it's just been down. Like because of the Trump put. So at one point, I think it was down 40% or something, 40, 50%. Yeah, probably around April. And then recently this week, with AMD being as bullish as it is, I eventually got out. So I actually hit my break even right at this peak here. You see that peak at 132 on June 20th, yesterday? I finally sold out of that. So we can look at the trade there. So right here, you can see AMDL, I got out, kind of broke even on that. So in the end, I actually made a little bit of money at AMD because when I sold AMD and got into AMDL, I was up like 60 something dollars. When I sold out of AMDL yesterday, I had an average of 7.45, as you can see here. I was selling at 7.41. So that translated to about a $30 loss. So in the end, I did make a bit of a profit, $31 after that. But yeah, that was probably one of the worst trades I was in that the Trump situation got me into. So now I'm officially out of everything that's bad. So right now, the only thing that's bad after that in this account is my Amazon and my Google. My Amazon, I'm not too worried about because this is something I got really bullish on recently. So Amazon, they are coming out with their own stable coin, and that's going to be big for Amazon. So once I got that news, and I looked at the charts, and it's extremely bullish. I kind of like doubled or triple my. I think I doubled my maybe. Definitely put. Let's see how much money I put in. I put in yesterday. I put 1,400 here, 800 here, another 300 here. So like $2,500. Maybe not double, but definitely like 50%. I add another 50% on to that position. So right now I'm down just about 5%, not too bad because we did have that big pullback yesterday. So it started at around 29 86 and it dropped to 28s, and I have a $30 cost average. So it's down, but once Amazon goes back up, it will be fine. Google, another one that um, I'm kind of in red on, but I'm not too worried. I did dollar cost average into this as well. So now I'm at an average of 34.63. Right, currently it's trading at 31. Google is more bullish, more bearish on the trade on the charts than Amazon. So definitely be careful about that one. And then after that, yeah, OPTT, this is a long-term hold. I'm just going to revisit this one. It's a long-term hold. My average is 74 cents, and I'm down quite a bit, but it's a very small position, as you can see, just $1,500. And once it spike, it could spike. So, we saw a last spike around there, 161 this January. So, as long as I'll probably sell probably in the 80s or 90s. Once it gets there, but you never know when. But this is an ocean power stock company, so you need energy to power AI in the future. So when they're looking for alternative sources, this one could spike with another government contract that this company receives. PayPal, this one is a slow burn. We'll just wait this out. I think second half of the year there is a good chance. No, not it's not 100%. I'm not saying 100%, but there's a chance that interest rates might drop more. So when that happens, I do see PayPal in a better having better days than it does now. But don't worry about PayPal. I'm only down what like $200 on this. Even if it's sold now, it doesn't matter because I have SoFi. SoFi is a good one. I'm up $800 on this one. I sold a cover call here, two cover calls there this week. So and I have a about $8,500 position in SoFi with an average of $13.88. Currently, SoFi is trading at 15.20s. Actually, in the morning on Friday, it was at 15.65. So I'm sitting pretty with SoFi. Could cover for my PayPal losses if that happens, but I think PayPal will be will fix itself. It's a company that's gonna fix itself. It's more in the future, but yeah, SoFi is doing well. And I this week I did sell two cover calls on it just to kind of hedge. Because if you guys have been following SoFi, last 3 months, for example, it's just been kind of like down. Like if you look at back in January, we had the highs of 17, $18, and this has been down since Trump came into power. And even once it kind of recovered from the Trump put, when Trump started doing deals with China and Europe, it still was trading sideways around, 13, $14. But this week, it just automatically had a huge spike. And it's kind of now past the 14s and it's kind of, settling in the 15s. So it was great, but that's quite a big run up for SoFi. It could always pull back with some bad news. So I did sell two cover calls just to lock in a $15 sell if they do get assigned. That way, if SoFi drops back to 13, and I'm like, red or breaking even on it again, I at least made $200 with two cover calls of SoFi. And it don't expire. They don't get assigned at 15. So I did that earlier this week as well. Yeah. So on July 18th, on Wednesday, I sold two cover calls. They were in the money. That's why I like them. They were in the money, so I made quite a lot of premium on them. About $100 each, $97 to be exact. All right, so that's my portfolio. Before I finish this video, I'm just gonna make a few notes about what's coming up. So again, you do see quite a lot of money on the sides and all of my account. Even with my non-registered margin account here, I do have $3,000 to deploy if we do have if the war that's going on between U.S. and Iran that just started today is going to significantly drop the stock market. Um, Overall, pretty happy with things. I think the main thing is if we're beating the market, which is an average return of 10% a year, then everything we're doing here is worthwhile. If we are below 10%, I might as well just go back to buying the market index because me myself am not performing better than the market. But because we are up 9.5% in 9 months, and I think 10% doing 10% this year is totally possible. I think what we're doing is working. How I have my portfolio set up is working. I have 1/3 in swing trades. I have 1/3 in long positions, and I have 1/3 in passive dividend income. And those of you who have followed me for quite some time, it's not like if you do all three, you're not a specialist at one, right? Like, you're a master of none because you do everything, right? Actually, you can get pretty good at all three of them, even doing three of them. I would say when that saying comes true is if you're doing 7 or 8 different things. But me, I just want to capitalize and do a little more than just do one thing. Like oh, go long on everything and then just don't look at my portfolio for years and years. I think if I have a little more of an active management on my portfolio, that I can squeeze another 5-6% out in terms of returns. And if you take 5% and you put that into a $313,000 portfolio, that's a lot of money, and I think it's definitely worth it. So it just becomes you just strengthen another revenue stream for yourself. So that's it for this week's video. Again, if you're interested in getting live coverage of my plays, I do recommend checking out my Patreon. I do all of these alerts in live time, so you can see that my Discord group knew since June 13th that I was getting into Visa. Um, they knew, on the day that I did sell those SoFi cover calls, um, they knew right when I sold them and my rationale for it. And then every Thursday, so now I'm starting to build these traditions. Every Thursday is when I kind of formulate and organize swing trades for the week. And so far, we've been doing pretty well on it. So, last week, or, I mean, this week, we talked about AMD and stuff like that. But I think last week, where are we? Actually, so yeah, this week we talked about, sorry, my bad. So this week we talked about Amazon and Walmart. But if you look at last week, we talked about, Boeing, SoFi, and that was the right play because SoFi last week versus this week has gone up quite a bit. Um, and before that, um, yeah, wherever I put, I mean, I put them in different channels. Um, yeah, so another week I talked about doing BBAI for a swing, and that went well. Tesla also went well. HIMS also went well when it was in the low 50s. So yeah, if you are interested in this, it's only $5 a month on Patreon for access to the whole entire Discord and all my alerts, which is not a lot of money these days. I can't find anything that's worth $5 except arcade tokens to play air hockey and shooting gun games. So with the $5 that you spend on Patreon and get these alerts, you can be making 20 times, 50 times that amount, and it's gonna be totally worth it. Also, if you don't like it, you can always cancel the next month and go to something new. But yeah, that's it for this portfolio updates, and I'll catch you in the next one.